All right, hello. Welcome to the second episode of our discussion podcast. I guess we're calling it Objectively. We decided
It's a
on a
really
name.
strong presence you got there.
I like the name.
I guess.
You guess? You don't like it?
Well, that's what you said. You said, I guess we're calling it Objectively.
Just agreeing with everything I say?
I love it. I love the name Objectively. Because it's
Sure.
ironic and it lets everyone know that our opinion is objectively the best one.
Well, it is. So
Well, it's been proven. by
it
science.
has been proven by science.
There's lots of studies
There's evidence.
that have been shown that are
People just go out into the world and just
Yeah.
look for the evidence, and you'll find it.
if you do the research, it's pretty obvious whose opinion is objectively the best. And it's ours every time.
Yeah, it's pretty overwhelming. No denying that goes without said. Today we're filming a special episode. We're going to be talking about a different movie than we talked about last time, because we talked about a horror movie last time.
That's right.
Today we're going to be talking about sort of like an action movie, I guess.
It's definitely an action movie.
Yeah, so a little different. It's called Furiosa. It came out recently. I'll give a little synopsis of the movie. Snatched from the green place of many mothers, young Furiosa falls into the hands of a great bike lord led by the warlord Dementus, sweeping through the wasteland. They come across the Citadel, presides over by the Immortan Joe. So basically, this is a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
Right. Did you see that movie?
I did see Fury Road, and in fact, I saw it very recently.
Oh, really?
After I saw Furiosa.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
So
So that's
get the
funny.
refresher.
Good. I really like that movie, Furiosa. I'd say this movie is if it's
You mean Fury Road?
Fury Road. Yeah.
You said
What did I say?
Furiosa.
Whoops, I meant Fury Road.
So you
But
really liked Fury Road.
I really like Fury Road.
Not
I did
so
like
much
I
Furiosa.
did like Furiosa. I think it was probably the same quality.
Yeah, it's very similar. It's very similar vibes.
There were some things I know, like style wise.
Mm-hmm.
There was a little more CGI. I feel like
In this one?
in Furiosa.
I think you're probably right.
Which was kind of like the selling points when Furiosa Fury Road.
Yeah.
Because like the mouth movement is so similar.
Furiosa.
Yeah,
They're both using the same word.
Furiosa Road.
Fury Road.
Oh, and so one of the selling points for Fury Road was that it was
Practical.
mostly practical effects.
Yeah.
And you can see it in the movie, and I think it's really
A
cool.
lot of documentaries showing them going through the desert, doing crazy stuff.
Yes, really well done. There's obviously a lot of practical effects in this movie, in Furiosa, but there were a lot more like spectacle kind of scenes or sequences that definitely required some CGI, and little things like I guess like facial CGI. The little girl, do you know the little girl who's the little Furiosa?
Right.
She's younger.
Right.
She gets captured, whatever, and then she grows up to be Anya Taylor-Joy.
You're saying her face was CGI?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why would they CGI her face?
To make it look like Anya Taylor-Joy.
She didn't look like that? A real actress?
No,
Like kid
not
actress?
the whole time. Like there was some points where it was really her face, but
That's weird.
yeah, it was a little weird. But
I never knew that.
I mean, the fact that you didn't know was good.
I didn't notice. But I will also say, this movie had a much more mellow vibe than Fury Road. And I guess I don't know, mellow is the best word, but it was not as fast paced as Fury Road was. Because Fury Road was like, it was almost like one gigantic long action sequence.
Yeah, the movie starts and it's immediate, and then
Yeah.
it just doesn't stop.
And it doesn't stop the whole time. And this one was a lot more like background building, world building, a lot more character development. It was a slower pace, still fast, but slower compared to Fury Road. And I think they did that on purpose, and I think there was pros and cons with that. We all love the fast pace, but you can't have background stories on the universe that they're in while everything's going at 100 miles per hour all the time. So I think they took some time to break down the universe around them, the different cities, including the Citadel and Bullet Town.
Bullet Farm.
Bullet Farm, and then Gas Town.
Yeah, Bullet Farm and Gas Town.
Bullet Farm and Gas Town, and it showed like these differences between these two things and how there's like an economy between all three of them. And I think it did a lot to flesh out the universe that all these stories are taking place in.
Yeah, it was nice. It was kind of refreshing watching this movie after watching Fury Road, because like it's all kind of like all these little details and things in the movie that are really like interesting. Actually, now there's a backstory to them, and now it actually there's a purpose.
Exactly.
And,
right.
There was that. There's so many details. That one guy with like the nose, he has like a metal nose. He's wearing like a suit.
Yeah,
he's kind of fat.
I feel like he represents capitalism. And,
Yeah,
the Monopoly Man
in
kind
the
of vibe.
first movie, he's like the, I don't know, like the booker. Like he just keeps track of of how much gas we have, how many bullets we've used, how many this, that.
Okay.
And in this movie, I don't know if he has the same job.
He's just kind of like a background guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't really explicitly do anything, I feel like.
But in Fury Road, he has these like cuts out of his like suit for his nipples.
He had that in Furiosa.
Yeah, I know. And when in Fury Road, he had these clamps on his nipples.
He didn't have the clamps
connected.
I don't know why
to
they took
each nipple.
They should have kept the clamps.
And
I don't know why they took those away.
in the movie, the dude, there was that guy who was like had that contraption to that guy's head, and he was about to let go and kill him. And when he finally let go, there were these clamps attached to his nipples, attached to like the harpoon.
Yes.
And it ripped it out.
Oh my god.
And when it happened, there's like a split second where it cuts to the guy with the nipples, and he just goes like, "Oh!" He grabs his nipple.
Whoa!
He's like, "I kind of like that."
that was exciting. Oh my god!
I just felt something.
I mean, that's kind of the point. That's kind of what you want when you have clamps on your nipples.
To pull them off.
You want to pull them off.
You speak from experience.
Well, I'm just thinking. I'm having empathy for him.
Really?
I'm putting myself in his shoes.
You have empathy for nipple clamp people.
I'm just. If I wanted to think about the world from his perspective, I would want people to tease my nipples with the clamps that I put. Why am I putting clamps in my nipples in the first place?
They should make the next movie another prequel, and it's just that guy.
I honestly think we need more background on the nipple clamps.
Yeah.
And this would be a movie about the nipple clamp guy. I think that would be fantastic.
What are some
the other character who is my favorite, the woman in the hole in the Citadel.
That was your favorite.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that was my favorite meta area of the whole.
Oh, I'm missing it. What's meta?
Well, maybe it's not meta. That was my whole vibe. That was my favorite vibe down there.
The vibe. Okay.
In the rotting under the ground.
I like the vibe of.
That was amazing.
This entire world, like the vibe is so interesting. Like all these people, there's like these people starved for resources and things, and they've over time turned into these like incredibly like feral like fucking gang member biker gang kind of crazy desert.
Well, the other thing they were showing in the beginning of this movie was that the bad guy who kidnaps Furiosa, he has someone there and they're like reviewing a motorcycle, and it's almost like a religious experience when he's like breaking down do you remember when they first enter the biker gang world and that you first meet the guy who has stuff written all over his face is explaining all the details about this motorcycle that they're looking at, and he's it has 10 cc's, blah blah blah, and this many horsepower, and he's like on his knees. I felt like he was like almost praying to this motorcycle.
There's a lot of worship going on.
Yeah.
To like inanimate things in the world.
It's like the religion is about high octane, fast moving vehicles.
Transportation is their religion,
I guess.
I think I love that. I think it's so interesting. In the first movie, there was that altar. There was that car wheel altar. Remember that? And they were all praying to the altar. And I was like, wow, that's interesting.
It's like we praise fast moving, high speed, hot rods.
Yeah.
It's like the whole religion of the whole movie. It's a good vibe.
The vehicles are interesting. All of them.
Oh,
are very
that's
unique.
the other thing is it seems like this whole world is also full of genius engineers.
Yeah.
Who are able to engineer these marvels of like of automation.
These incredibly powerful engines,
trucks and cars and motorcycles that are like very remarkable and very good at what they do. Like they're literally war machines, but a lot more creative.
Yeah.
So
very, very creative. Let's talk about some characters because we already talked about.
We really brushed over the character I brought up, the woman in the hole.
So explain what happens with it.
So there's one scene where Furiosa is about to be dragged into that hole in the bottom, and she sees this woman down there, and just full of rotting dead bodies and maggots and everything, and she's like, oh my god, and she escapes out of it, and she was like, that would have been the most horrible thing I could have ever experienced. I'd rather go with the guy who's about to kill me than go in that place. And it's like, hey, this woman is there, and she found peace. Why can't we respect that?
The next time we see her character, right?
The next time she wakes up there, and her arm was ripped off, and is being eaten on by maggots in that place. And this woman is like,
oh, God.
I can't tell if the woman was taking care of Furiosa or like preparing her to be eaten by her or something.
If like in the wild you get a wound and you have some maggots, you can actually put them on your wound, and that's a real thing, and it'll eat away the dead infected skin.
Yeah,
that's a real thing, but it needs to be a very careful process.
Yeah. In the hospital, they sterilize the maggots, I believe. They clean them up. You can't just grab maggots out of the pile of shit on the floor and wipe that on your open wound. I think that would
I'm sure,
give you an infection.
I'm sure it's been done sometime in the past.
They probably died of it.
Learned a lot from that. But
it was using maggots to clean the wound. I think the point.
And then she takes a stick or something, and she goes up to her wound and starts scraping the maggots off violently. I was like,
it was the most. That scene was the most
and it's pitch black dark too. You can only see a little light coming through.
Dark. Yeah, these people, and then she's escaping, and the woman's like, "No, we have peace here."
Yeah,
and the woman's like, no, "I would rather die out there in war than to be here with you doing this stuff." And I kind of get that. There's a certain point where no amount of peace is going to be worth being surrounded by rotting dead flesh all day, every day.
But
you know what? I respect her.
It's like a spa treatment. They use
the maggots.
They use slugs and stuff, but instead it's
You have spa treatments with slugs?
I mean, not personally.
I don't think that's a thing.
It is. Mud slugs. Mud slugs, right?
What?
Yes. Mad bath.
In real life?
Yes. And then there's...
I've never heard of that.
And there's a slug bath or something, and they just...
I would do that.
You would?
I would do the slug bath.
I made that up. That's not a real thing.
Well, I'm going to do it now.
You're disgusting.
I'm going to make the first mud slug bath.
Yeah, you're determined now.
And people are going to love
it. Some other interesting characters.
Yeah.
Obviously, it goes without saying, Chris Hemsworth, the main guy, the main villain dude. He was, I think his performance, this is my favorite performance he's ever done.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
And his character was so horribly evil.
Yeah.
And he ruined the main character's Furiosa's life twice.
Twice right.
In the movie, because he kills her mom, and then later, spoiler, he kills...
Oh yeah, spoilers.
Yeah, they're spoilers. He kills her friend/boyfriend/father figure in the movie. What was their relationship? What was your take on their relationship?
I think that they wanted the Tom Hardy back from Fury Road, and then they were just like, "Well, we can't." So this is the next best thing.
He was a lot like Fury,
he was exactly. He's wearing the exact same jacket.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same.
I don't know why he was so similar.
I think it's because of the absence of that. Did you notice that at one point they cut to the Mad Max character?
At the end.
Yeah, towards the end.
The very end.
It's the back of his head and his car.
Yeah.
And he's just on a cliff.
Yeah,
and I'm just like...
And that scene is one of the beginning scenes of Fury Road. Of him standing next to his car overlooking.
It's a little different, because his hair isn't the same.
Maybe, but it's supposed to be the
I
same.
guess.
Because it's the end of the movie when she's taking the pregnant women out. Or the breeding women out, which is the beginning of the movie. I thought
it was after she escaped.
Yeah.
After her arm got ripped off. Right after her arm got ripped. It cuts to him.
I'm pretty sure it was the last scene.
was not the last scene.
Like one of the very last scenes.
No, it was not the last scene.
Well, it was
for
definitely a
content.
reference to Fury Road.
It was a reference, but I don't understand. Like, I'm just thinking, like, so is he gonna come up later now, or no? He doesn't show up, and then I'm like, okay, so I guess that's
It was a
alluding to the next movie, but he does. He looks completely different than he did at the beginning of the Fury Road.
yeah. I guess it was just a foreshadowing event to just like.
I guess
give a
people
wink
would be
towards some
upset
other
if they
movie.
made a Mad Max movie without Max in it at
It
least
is.
once.
It is called Mad Max.
It's called Mad Max.
It's like Mad Max Furiosa or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's Furiosa, a Mad Max story.
Yeah.
Something like that. So they
Why?
gotta get the Mad Max in there.
They could put it in the title, and then you gotta have him at least once in the movie. I guess.
Yeah.
Is the criteria. But
I don't think anything lived up to the sandstorm scene from Fury Road.
you
Remember
mean
that
there,
one?
there wasn't like a parallel scene in this movie? That
Yeah, there wasn't like any scene that was like that insane. That was that absolutely like beautiful and chaotic and insane.
Yeah.
In Furiosa. It was a little bit more like it's a little bit more slower paced, but you got a lot more knowledge about the backstory of all of the worlds because of that.
Yeah, a lot of backstory, a lot of information. We're talking about parallels between the movies. There's that really long car truck chase scene,
Yeah,
sort
dude,
of.
that was good.
That was really cool.
I love how creative all these war machines are. I love how they were gliding in on parachutes with fans on their backs to do war, and like that was like I wonder why don't we actually use that in real war, because that was kind of smart in certain situations.
I like the idea of just taking people and putting them in very scarce environments and just making them. How would you have a war in this incredibly dry, resource scarce environment? Like desperate? How desperate can we get you, and how creative can your war be?
And that was another thought I had when I saw one of the first few scenes where they showed the motorcycle gang for the first time, and it's like thousands of motorcycles all driving through the desert all at once. And like, first question that came to mind was like, where is all these gas coming from? 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, we're in the middle of a desert, in the middle of nowhere. How are these people fueling their vehicles? And then of course they start to explain Gas Town and how all that works. But yeah, they have to have some. I like how the three resources that they have to explain are bullets and gas
And water.
and food. Yeah, water.
Or food and water.
Yeah, the Citadel. But it did a good job explaining it. It's like, well, I guess if you have those things, then everything else kind of makes sense. If you just kind of accept those things are there.
It's a perfect.
Those are like the consumed items, and everything else is just like, I guess they don't need anything else.
Yeah.
other
Well,
than those things.
you don't just go to the store and just get bullets,
Bullets,
and
gas,
water, and stuff?
food, and water. And what else more do you consume?
Yeah.
What else do you consume?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You don't need anything else.
Pretty light. But so he was a great character, Chris Hemsworth. There's so much to talk about just his character alone. Like he's like really smart, like he's intelligent in
Yeah.
strategies.
He's like a cult leader.
But he's also like completely crazy. Like he was willing to expend anyone. Anyone is expendable to him at any time. But he's like kind of pathetic. He's really pathetic.
Yeah, he cares a lot about like his image of the people around him and everyone thinking he's the best.
Yeah, there was that speech at the end of the movie when he's like on the ground in the desert, and and he's just like, "Hey, I don't care about dying or anything. Like I died a while ago. I just do whatever I want now.
Yeah.
Just like whatever is right in front of me and immediately entertaining is what I go for." And I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, what else do you have?
He has like a very sad life. He has like nothing at the very end, and
Well,
like,
okay, so there's like some interesting things about his character. Like he's completely unforgivable, evil bastard, but there's some moments
what?
like you were talking about that lady in the cave, right? She was dragging him.
Yeah.
Well, the way she got out was he was holding on to the chain and he pulled her out.
He's say Furiosa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking like,
So-
what's that?
I think it almost sounded like he wanted to raise her as his child, which is what he alluded to at the beginning when he went to the Citadel. He's like, "This is my daughter."
Well, I think he was just doing that because being goofy
Well,
and like lying.
I mean, is lying, but like, you know, a lot of people want to have successors.
Well, I think
When they're older.
that he was probably gonna like raise her to be his wife or something like that. Like, I mean, that's what they were talking
Maybe.
about in the exchange. But yeah, I thought that exchange was so funny where he's like, "This is my daughter." And he's like, "Well, I want her." And he's like, "You can't have my daughter. It's my daughter." And I'm just thinking, well, it's not your daughter, so I don't know why you care so much.
I think he wanted to raise her as his daughter, so that
you think he cared about her, really?
So that she could take over his motorcycle gang, so that he can have a part, like he can have in, because that's important to people when they own these giant companies and stuff, and when they start getting older, they start have to considering, who's gonna take over this when I'm gone.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the vibe I was getting from him. He's like, this is a hard girl, and the main point is she's smart. And that's what you need when you care about someone taking over your legacy. You need someone smart enough to understand what it is and the value it has and how to maintain it. And I think that's what he saw in her, because everyone else around him is a moron marauder who's like a side character.
That's what I thought was interesting. Is also they gave like his gang some character too. Like when at some point he's like, "Hey, take off your clothes," and then he turns around to some dude and he's just like, "He wants me to take off my clothes." And then he's just like, all right. It's like,
yeah.
And then he's just like, questioning my authority. And it's like, I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah. So they just want anyone who's anywhere in this world is just searching for guns, gasoline, or water at any time. So at any time they are searching for one of those three things, and they will do whatever it takes to get it. So if it's joining a gang and being a weird outlaw, weird biker gang mutant dude is get you that, sure. If at some point there's another dude in the gang who's a better leader, they're gonna switch sides.
Yeah, I mean it does. This movie does a really good job of showing you what a dystopian future would really be like, which is that there's really no good side of the fight of the armies of the fighting. Even one of them is bad.
Even the main character Furiosa, she grows up to be like a fucking almost like the Grim Reaper. Like seeing her at the end of the movie when she's completely changed. She shaved her head. She's got an arm missing. She's got a robot arm, and she just goes out into the desert to, I guess, torture this guy. Like,
I mean, she was out for revenge.
Yeah, so it's completely justified.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like taking compared to her at the beginning of the movie. She's completely different. This whole world changed her into being a more emotionally cut off, like a little more sinister. I think. Yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is all the main powers in the world are bad.
Yeah.
There isn't like the good guys versus the bad guys. It's all of the powers are all the bad guys, and there's just a few people under the bottom rings who are trying to be good and trying to help each other on the bottom ring. And it's like, there is no like big war between the good guys and the bad guys. It's not like, devil versus whatever. It's all devils versus everybody else.
Every man for himself.
Who else can have the most power doing what they do? And
and there's so much waste. There's so much waste of resources. Yeah. It's so fun. Even in the first movie, Fury Road, where he just like opens up the gates to the waterfall and he just spills it all out and he turns it off. And he's like, "Don't get addicted to water." It's like,
I feel like they could be using
that makes me think of like the government, the U.S. government, and they're just like, "Don't get addicted to healthcare. It'll take hold of you.
Don't make this a common thing. Don't
get used to it."
Yeah, you gotta make sure you can be good without this stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like the fact that there is water somewhere, I feel like you could try to rebuild society using that water.
Well, why would you want to do that?
And even like the bullet farm is like, how much resources and gas is used in that bullet farm to make bullets?
Yeah.
And an unbelievable amount.
Gastown, I think, was just like an old oil refinery too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But like there must be required so much oil to refine bullets out of the ground. You need gas to power the machines to mine the ground. You need gas to power the machines to heat and process the ore that like the Gastown. To be honest, you don't really need that much oil to make a farm in the Citadel. You need tons and tons of oil and fuel to fuel the bullet farm. Yeah. So those two would be much more tight knit.
I think they only really need gasoline just going back and forth from these towns back to the Citadel.
That's like nothing.
No, it's not nothing, because every single time they make a trip, it's like a whole 30-minute scene in the movie where they're fighting off scavengers and shit.
Yeah, but if you think about how much gas they actually use, it's probably not
just like 2 miles.
That much of gas. Because they actually show, like, they could see the bullet farm from the Citadel.
That's true.
So it means it's only like a couple miles away. If it's in view, it's not that
That's
far.
so funny.
So, like, if all they're using is a gas to drive a few miles with a tanker, that's not that much gas. But you will need, like, tons and tons of gas to fuel the bullet farm and all the functions they're going to have to perform.
Oh, you saw in the beginning of the movie where it, like, zoomed into the Earth and it went to Australia, right?
Yes.
So, it, like, there's this, like, joke I saw online after I saw the movie was, like, what if Australia after the apocalypse is, like, just like this? And the whole world is just normal? It's just
That's true. Like, I felt like they were gonna... The fact that they did that zoom-in thing, I felt like they were trying to show us something else. Like, what else is out there?
I think it was, like, because the original movies from the 80s, they were filmed in Australia, but it was ambiguous where it was. So, but then Fury Road didn't... It's supposed to be a sequel to those movies, but it didn't say if it was directly a sequel. So I think he was doing that to confirm to the audience,
Australia.
This is Australia.
Yeah. I actually heard that Fury Road and Furiosa are in a different timeline than the other old Mad Maxes. They're in a different because those older Mad Maxes he was a police officer.
Yeah, he was.
And he is not at all a police officer in any of these movies or in Fury Road.
He does act a little... Well, okay,
not at all.
No, well,
it's nothing to do with police.
The movie was... In the original movie, he was a police officer, but he quits.
Right, but in this universe, there is no police.
No. Okay, you need to watch the original movie to understand. In the original movie, society is normal. There's nothing wrong with society at all at the beginning of the movie. And he's a police officer, and he's taking down all these biker gangs that are just popping up everywhere around Australia. They don't say where it is, but it's in Australia. And they're getting worse and worse and stuff, and they're getting larger. And at some point, the police force is just spread too thin, and he's got so much work to do, catching all these dudes and getting nearly dying every day.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what? I quit. I'm just gonna live with my family. And we're gonna buy a house out by the beach, and it's gonna be fine. Spoiler alert: if you haven't seen that movie, his whole family gets killed by his biker gangs.
Yeah.
And that's like a third of the way into the movie, and then he's just like, okay, I'm gonna kill all of you guys now. And he rebuilds his car into like this super souped up car, and then wears all black leather and just goes out and just murders all these dudes.
But you think that's the same universe as this movie? As Fury Road? Like if that movie you just described establishes that society still exists.
No, but the whole society is like slowly crumbling during that movie.
Keyword slowly.
Yeah.
Like from that to this new universe would take like dozens of years.
It's like
decades.
Okay, this is something that bothers me actually. So if you want to talk about chronology, in the movie, the original movie from the 80s, he's like a 30-year-old dude, and by the end of that movie, so in the beginning of the movie, there's still houses, there's still suburbs, there's still buildings, there's still cities.
That's what I'm saying. It's not the same.
So then, in the next movie, Thunderdome, I think what it is the sequel to that movie. Everywhere's just a desert. And that trend has been continued throughout all these movies since then. It's like, how? It's just a desert like that? And then in the Furiosa movie, they show her when she was a kid, right? And she's supposed to be the same age as Max when they meet up. And they show her when she's a kid, and she's in this, like, forest, like, jungle kind of world thing.
Yeah.
And but it's still desert outside, and there's biker gangs and stuff.
Right.
So, what happened?
So that's well, again, I think these Fury Road and Furiosa, that's a different universe, and I think that was even confirmed by like the producers of the movie. Like it's a different timeline of Mad Max than those older movies. But regardless, if you probably remember at the end of Fury Road, they established that green place where she grew up doesn't exist anymore.
There anymore. Yeah.
So over the 30 years or whatever, however old she was, that was the amount of time that it took to make the whole green place just go extinct, which is horribly sad.
Now, okay, so do you think that Fury Road and Furiosa they're 100% in the
same universe? Yeah.
Same universe.
Yeah,
so
I would say that.
Yeah, they're definitely in the same universe.
Yeah, because they're so similar.
Another thing I think is really interesting about this universe is just the character of Max. Because he was, in the original movies, he was that guy that was like a law officer and everything, and then, you know, his family dies and he gets revenge and it changes him into a different, like, emotionally cold kind of guy. Um, like, in the original, like in the second movie, I think it's called Thunderdome. He like saved. There are these guys. They're like the evil guys, kind of like how the mutants are in Furiosa,
Right?
Or the biker gang, and he kills some guys, and he, you know, and it's just one guy. So you're like, how did this dude just kill us all? And they're just laying there on the shrapnel and everything, and they're just like, help, 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 and he's just like, you guys got any gas? He's like, I mean, yeah, you could have just asked.
Oh,
he's just
wow.
like, give me some gas right now. He's just like completely, like, he's not good or evil. Like, he just wants gas. He wants gas or
Mad
water.
Max does?
Yes, gas or water or bullets at any point in time. He doesn't really have any alliance or allegiance to anyone or any moral code. Like, whatever it takes to get those things.
But he's a good guy. No?
And not really. He does everything for himself. And it isn't until he gets put into a corner where it's like he has to save people in order to like escape or something like that he actually does anything good.
Really? Because that's very different than Fury Road.
Fury Road? How's it different?
Well, I guess he was like that in the beginning,
Yeah.
but he eventually cares about the people he's with.
This is what happens in like every movie he's in. Is like he's a piece of shit. He just wants to, you know, everything for himself. But then by the end of the movie, circumstances force him to
He's learned.
help out people, and then. But even by the end of Fury Road, he was like, I'm just gonna go off and do my own thing now. Like, I'm not like needed here anymore. He just like leaves.
Well, in the really end, but before that, he was already willing to say like, if I don't come back, you just keep going. He said that to Furiosa.
Yeah.
And the girls. when he was,
Yeah. He does have a little more. He does care a little more, I guess, in Fury Road. Like, he gives her his blood.
Yeah, that's true. Well, he needed to give her his blood, I think.
He also needed her alive to like.
He gave her his blood because she was the only one who knew how to turn on the war machine.
That's right.
So he needed her to be alive. But
yeah.
eventually he was like, "Look, I'll defend you guys.
Yeah.
You guys need to try to get it out of here." So he was like a good guy at the end of it. But you know, he had the hero's arc of, you know, not being one way at the beginning and being a changed man at the end of it.
Yeah, I think that's how every Mad Max movie that he's in is. He's just a changed man by the end of the movie.
Yeah, that's the hero's arc.
Yeah,
Just like,
and I think in Furiosa she goes through a similar kind of process where she's like a little kid and then she turns into like the devil by the end of it.
She's not the devil.
She's
not. Is killing the bad guy a devilish thing to do?
Well,
were we the devil when we killed Hitler?
She made a peach. She made a peach grow out of his penis and ate the peach fruit that grew out of him. So that's pretty. I wouldn't
because he was a bad guy.
I guess that's true.
He was. If we could have done that to Hitler,
I would have done the same.
We would have done it.
Yeah,
I just don't know if you can do that. Is that really what the final thing was though? Because it showed like 6 different possible ways he died, and that was like one of them.
But then the dude narrating, he's like, "But she told me herself," and then it shows him, and he's like all old and stuff, and it's growing out of his thing, man. I don't know. It's not like his belly or anything. Like, it's his penis.
But that means she's feeding him.
Yes.
That means he's being kept alive.
Maybe he's eating his own
water, and he's eating his dick peach.
Yeah.
He's eating the plant that comes out of his
What do you think of the ending? What do you think of that?
Oh, the ending.
Because that
the
was
way he was gonna kill. The way she's gonna kill him.
Well, that was the ending. Was the thing growing out of him?
Yeah. Well, and then they were gonna. Then she was establishing herself back into the tribe, and then she eventually was escaping. Was the real final ending, but. I mean, it was good. I'm happy that it showed a really horrible way he was dying because he definitely deserves it. But they were like teasing it a little bit, and the final thing was almost making you like more sympathetic with him. The final speech he was giving, Because he was like saying, "Look, you're just like me. I'm just like you. We're all the same. We're just trying to do what we can to survive. And look at you. You're about to kill me, just like how I killed your mom." And it's like, well, I guess there's kind of a point there, and it almost makes it a little less satisfying that you're about to be murdered.
Yeah.
Because it makes it almost like more empathetic to you and to everyone in the situation, that everyone's kind of just turning bad because it's out of necessity. So maybe no one's bad at the end of the day.
This is what an apocalyptic desert world does to people.
Makes you desperate.
Turns them into Chris Hemsworth with a beard and a weird nose.
And there was very I like the beginning scene where they drove up to the Citadel, and he was like, because he's obviously the leader of the motorcycle gang, but he was trying to take over the Citadel.
Oh, I thought that was really cool how he was like, "You have the power. The power is with you."
It literally gave me like cult leader vibe.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because the Citadel guy, what's his name again?
The leader of the Immortan Joe.
Yeah, Immortan. It was like Immortan, the cult leader of the Citadel, was like, "Okay, you guys think you can challenge my authority here? Watch what I can do." Snaps his fingers, and one of his guys kills himself.
Yeah.
It's like, well, can't really beat that kind of loyalty, can you?
Yeah.
It's like, there's a cult leader versus another cult leader, and they're both like trying to battle over the cult followers, and it gets really messy the whole time.
Yeah. The Citadel, they're like the way that they control their people is more like they literally gods. Like they think they're literally that these people are literally gods. They will literally go to Valhalla when they die if it's in the name of these people.
That's just, it's the most culty cult.
Yeah, and like in this movie, all of they show all the war boys, and they're literally boys, like they're little boys, like they're children. It looks like, and in the next movie, they're like adults. And so it's like, yeah, literally from childhood, these people are being taught that these people are gods.
Yeah.
And if they die in the name of him, then that's all that matters.
I mean, that sounds pretty much like what a real, like the real Valhalla, like the real Nordic religion. You die in battle and you are honored.
So they're like an actual cult, but then like the other dude, the biker gang leader guy, I forgot what his name was in the movie. Doesn't matter, but he doesn't have that type of control over his people. In fact, they honestly aren't at any point are ready to like abandon him. It seems like when he asked that dude to take off his clothes, and he was just like, "Should I do what he says?" And he's like, "I question my authority." Like, yeah, they don't really like follow. They're following you at any second. They could like leave you and abandon you if you mess up.
Yeah,
they're ready,
but they're still willing to do crazy things in the name of this guy. Like,
well, I think it's not in the name of this guy; it's in the name of desperation, because that's the type of world they live in. They need resources, and there's only one way to get them at any time. So, whatever is the most, convenient process to get resources at the time is what they'll stick to. So, at some point, this guy, became their leader, and he's been riding that wave ever since.
Just the gang leader.
Yeah.
And do you remember at the beginning when they were doing they were all pulling that guy apart with their motorcycles?
Oh yeah.
That was and they that one girl got her jaw bashed in,
yeah.
And she was totally disfigured. And
she's like, "Fucking, I don't care."
Yeah, she's like, "I don't even care." And I'm ruined. My whole life is whoa.
I love how all really every single little background actor in this movie has their own character story, their own character arc. Every single person, there's no dialogue from these people at all, but there's so much story being told through them. Like that lady, she's scarred for the whole movie after that.
Yeah,
she scars all over her body.
She shows up later with the scars.
Yeah, and then I forgot how she died, but at some point, I think it was during the truck chase. No, wait, maybe it was later. I don't remember, but she dies in a really. She dies in kind of a really unceremonious way.
Yeah.
You
even
just
though
saw
she
her
had backstory.
Even though she's fighting tooth and nail for survival and stuff. Plot
matter.
armor. Main characters are protected by plot armor, so obviously you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Against them.
Yeah. Even though she had some character development, it still just died with the rest of the dogs.
Yeah. It's good way to go. I don't know.
And then the way the guy tortured Furiosa's boyfriend to death was really horrible because they just like slowly drove in a circle
Yeah.
around Furiosa for hours and hours and hours with him while dogs were chasing him, and they didn't really show what he looked like by the end of that, but I'm pretty sure the implication was he was probably just like slowly being torn apart by those dogs for hours, and then
Didn't look very fun.
yeah, so
Like I just imagined, like as soon as they started pulling on him with the motorcycle, and he's like trying to catch up to it running. I'm just like, well, that would exhaust me really quickly.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then he starts dragging, and I was like, well, damn, that sucks.
That doesn't feel,
Yeah.
or maybe it's not too bad.
Maybe it's nice.
I
Maybe
mean,
it's like a
there's-
mud bath.
I mean, when you slide along like a slip and slide, it's like kind of fun.
Yeah.
You know what I
Some
mean?
slide made out of sand.
Yeah, it's like something like sand. So it's like it's kind of just like a slow pull that you're going through the sand, and I think the dogs are the real like they're chewing at your legs.
Man, you give me a snowboard on that, and I'd be like having a ball.
They
dude.
should have a snowboarding gang.
And just like pull me,
A
like
snowboarding or like a snowmobile, but for sand.
yeah.
That would be cool. Sandmobile.
Why don't they use those in the movie?
They need to have snowmobiles. They need to have those hovercrafts that like have air at the bottom of them. They can go over water and on land.
Yeah.
They need to have even more, because they have a lot of creative vehicles. They could have more.
They need to build a rocket ship and go to space.
They should have rocket ships. They need to have
What's another
motorcycles.
Jet planes.
They need to have jet planes. They need to
Yeah.
be a little bit more creative about that stuff.
In the second movie, Thunderdome, there was like a dude with a helicopter car. It was like a helicopter. car or
Finally,
something
that's
like that.
confusing.
And he he had booby traps on his on a helicopter car that
Ooh.
had snakes that would pop out.
That sounds so Mad Max.
Yeah,
That sounds so Mad
It's the
Max.
goofiest thing ever.
Yeah.
But there's literally guns in the world. He uses snakes.
Dude.
It's-
It's gotta be that's one of the things, like a lot of things that happen in the movie that's like, this doesn't make much sense, it's too over the top.
But I
It's just
kind of like
you
when
just gotta embrace
I
it.
like it when stuff like that happens because it's so goofy that it's like there's so many moments in this movie where I'm just like it was like, oh god, that seems stressful, and then something goofy will happen. Alright.
Well, like when they were trying to seize the Citadel at first, and the guy was trying to convince everybody, and they're like, no, and then tons of cranes just out of nowhere just start picking up motorcycles.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, what?
Well,
How
no,
is this-
because like the whole Citadel is designed to so that cars can be picked up and placed in different areas, and engines and things can be taken out and put back
Sure.
in easily
Yeah,
from anywhere.
but like to do it during during like a fight scene is like, I don't know, that's just pretty bold.
It was pretty cool.
To do that,
It's pretty
it's
cool.
like that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
That fight scene was great. A lot of great fight scenes. A lot of car chasing in the movie,
Which we love.
which I love.
Love the car chase scenes.
Love that.
And that one scene with him going from the when she first meets the guy in that car chase scene, that was the best.
Oh yeah, I just want to throw this out there. That Morton Joe, the
Mhm.
dude who's the leader of the Citadel, his
Yeah.
two sons.
Yeah.
One of their names is Rictus Erectus, and then
Ooh.
the other guy's name is Scrotus.
Those sound like porn names.
And I just wanted to throw that out there.
Rectus Erectus.
Just throwing that
He
out
knew
there.
what he was doing.
Yeah. Is his I wonder if is his was his father Mr. Erectus or is his first name Rectus Erectus?
So then Scrotus was Scrotus Erectus?
I don't remember.
That
I just
would
remember
be
it was
great.
Scrotus and I was just like that's
He was also a pedophile,
yeah,
in this movie.
that's another thing.
which is great.
In the first movie he was drinking that mother's milk
Drinking that mother's
he was like,
milk.
that's the good stuff.
This dude has problems, and I actually heard that. I heard something about that the actor who played him was starting to get heat.
Yeah.
They were calling him a pedophile
Yeah,
because he
what the
played a
fuck?
pedophile.
Poor
It's
guy.
like, man,
Jesus Christ.
I thought we were past this like not understanding what acting is thing, but I guess
the internet is so stupid.
pedophiles take things over the limit. I guess little bit
Well,
too
he
intense.
wasn't. He didn't actually do anything though.
But he
was
acted like
he was
he was.
really ready. He was
acting.
as ready as anyone could be.
He was too excited. You can see it.
All right, calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down.
I know you're acting.
Look, we're
but
all
don't
excited.
Act that good.
We're all excited. All right,
Yeah.
but you're
I feel like you're really excited.
just tone it down. Tone it down.
Pedophiles should not be very good at. When you're acting as a pedophile, you should be a bad actor.
Yeah.
So it's not that believable.
Right. Yeah, so that was an interesting guy. Oh, another thing, that actor. So the dude who played Scrotus, the little dude,
Yeah.
like their brothers, the
Mhm.
little one. That actor who played him is the same actor from the first movie, Fury Road.
Yeah.
And he played a war boy in that movie. He was that dude with like the cuts on his mouth.
It's not the same actor.
It's the same actor. Look it up.
Are you sure?
Yeah, and I remember I was watching. I was like, wait, what? Why does he
Really?
turn into a war boy at some
No.
point? Because they're completely different characters.
Yeah.
And
That is really funny.
so there's all these little tiny choices like that throughout these movies that are just so interesting. Like they don't like make the movie worse, but it's just like when I'm watching the movie, I'll see this and I'm like, whoa, that's like there's got to be a reason.
That's something they added on purpose.
Like the actor who plays Immortan Joe in Fury Road is the same actor from the original Mad Max. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
In this movie, in Fury Road, though, in Furiosa, the actor died, so they had to replace him. But
wait,
yeah.
Immortan Joe's a different actor?
Yeah. From
really?
Mm-hmm.
They look very similar.
They do look pretty similar.
They look very similar to them. Wow,
no, that's a different guy with horse teeth on his.
It looks good.
Face.
He looks great.
Yeah, it looks good.
But
I think it's also in this Furiosa is a prequel, so he's supposed to be younger too. So they cast a younger actor, so it's like kind of it all fits together.
The continuity.
All fits together.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I just love movies like this, and I love being able to support movies like this because there aren't a lot of movies like this that get made where on this scale with such practical effects and with such detail to the story and things like that.
Although it's a recreation or an adaptation or whatever to an existing series of Mad Max, it still feels very creative.
Mm-hmm.
It still feels very new, even though it is it's coming from that. It still feels very new because it's so unlike most movies that are created nowadays.
Yeah, like go watch any other movie that has come out around this time. Like what's a movie that came out first? I don't know.
Marvel.
Any Marvel movie, like I don't know, Captain Marvel. That's a movie.
Captain Marvel.
Imagine compare that movie to this movie, and it's night and day. Like this movie is just so good. This movie's begging you to watch it and to like it. Like it's just every scene, every frame. There's so much craftsmanship and so much hard work put into it.
Yeah, it's a real like movie theater movie too.
Yes.
And I bet if anyone hears this and they are hearing it, it's probably past it being in theaters.
Probably.
So
yeah.
you probably won't be able to look at it and watch it in theaters. But if you ever hear it's coming out maybe for a re-release or something, I would definitely take advantage and go check it out on a big screen because it's a movie that benefits from being seen on a big screen.
This is a brand new. I mean, not it's in the same world as other movies that exist, but it's like it feels very new story wise and creatively, visually. There's all these creative elements that go into it that it's this kind of work. I feel like should be supported. We want more movies like this. So you go to the theater and support them with your money, with your wallet. Then you're gonna see more movies like this. Well, probably won't, but but it's the only way that there's any hope for movies like this.
Yeah,
so
we want people to do that for sure, but some people are gonna pirate it and not actually pay the movie theater what they deserve. So
well, no, it's not the movie. I mean the movie theater.
Some people are gonna pirate the movie.
Yeah,
and then no proceeds go to that.
We could
actors.
We could have a whole video talking about the morality of piracy.
Yeah, we could.
I mean, I'd love to talk about it, but I feel like it would eat up too much time. But yeah, it was, so I highly recommend this movie. Do you have any final thoughts or anything before we give ratings?
give them more money to make more movies like this.
I would like a sequel to this or a prequel or
You
something.
want more Mad Max themed movies.
Something in this universe again. Like I
or
wouldn't mind.
or a different movie completely that has similar vibes to being like out to being jumping the shark on purpose, going extra crazy for fun on purpose. It doesn't have to be photorealistic anymore. It just needs to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it's fun, it's fun.
It's fun.
Other details don't matter as long as everyone's having fun. I feel like this is a movie that when they were making it, everyone was having really a lot of fun on set.
Yeah, they're like trying to make it. They're trying to improvise and have a good time while they're doing it.
Oh, there was that midget guy who was like a war boy.
Yeah.
And he was a kid from a viral video. Yeah, really.
I heard about
and
that.
now he has an acting career.
Now he's in one of the most famous movies in modern day.
Yeah.
So
it just goes to show you, kids, if you get bullied and your mom films you crying, you can get put on
show them what's up.
a movie.
Take advantage.
And then people will bully you for different reasons. So.
I wouldn't bully that guy.
No.
That dude looked awesome.
Yeah, he looked a little scary. Actually.
A little scary, which is awesome.
That's good. That's a good
for a war boy.
I guess, yeah. Sorry. Mommy, I'm a war boy. No, you're not.
Finally made it.
You're not ugly enough. So I'll probably rate this movie out of 10. I'll give it an 8.5.
I was gonna say an 8.
Wow.
8.
Interesting.
Rounded out.
Is there a reason why your score is lesser than mine? Is there a specific reason?
How am I supposed to know why my score is different than yours?
I don't know. I really like this movie.
I thought it was a great movie.
Because last time I gave it a lower rating, and you were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you hated it."
Yeah, and
so now I get to grill you for that.
It was definitely good. I guess action movies in general are great, but sometimes they can be so fast and so unfeeling that there's like lesser emotion involved in some certain situations that
it doesn't give you enough time to react.
Yeah, and it's harder to feel connected to all of these characters all the time when everything is so extreme all the time. But there are some action movies where you feel a little bit more connected to the characters. So if I was gonna try to critique it about anything, it might be something like that. But again, like you can't make a movie like this and slow it down to talk about characters. But
yeah, I think it dedicated a good amount of time, more than most movies, to characters. But yeah, there is so much action, so much going on at any given time that it does feel like the movie's just trying to push you as much as it can towards that.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy, which is fun. But it being so crazy is also making it feel a little disconnected.
Yeah, if you blink, you can miss something really interesting or really important.
Yeah.
Which is, I think I kind of like that. Actually, I understand a criticism for that, but I think like there's, to me that just shows.
Well, it's not that it's fast. It's that it's so crazy that it feels a little bit unconnected from reality.
Yeah.
So it starts to feel a little less important because it's not very, like, it might as well be dragons fighting vampires at a certain point when it's so crazy that it's like, well, that's cool and awesome and crazy, but it feels a little less.
Yeah, the rules in this world aren't really like.
Yeah, they're kind of dynamic.
They kind of just work for whatever the plot needs them to.
Yeah, and that's fine. It's not bad. It's just it feels less connected to reality, which makes it feel a little less real and less important, the things that are going on. Because when something reflects reality, it just feels you have a better connection to it.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's
a slice of life.
But when it's a fantasy, then it's like, well,
anything
it's fantasy.
Is possible.
Yeah, you can kind of just make up any rules you want, and it's fantasy.
Like I always hear like nerds, like Marvel or comic book nerds, like arguing about the implications of some superheroes' powers on this type of energy thing, and it's just like it's made up. Who cares?
Made up.
Like it exists in how you are imagining it right now. Where
the purpose of the story is to entertain.
Yeah.
So if rules are being broken, as long as it's in the name of the entertainment value, then it doesn't matter.
It was pretty entertaining.
It doesn't matter. And that movie was very entertaining.
Yeah.
So it was great.
Okay. 8 out of 10, huh?
8.0. 0.0. You gave it 8.5?
8.5.
Wow.
I really liked it.
You loved it.
I think compared to Fury Road, though, I like Fury Road more. I'd give Fury Road like a 9.5.
Yeah. I
And
think
then-
Fury was closer to that 9-ish area.
It was kind of just nice to see the characters.
9.5. So almost a perfect movie.
Almost.
Wow.
Almost. It's there were some things about it that in the first movie. I mean, we're not talking about that movie right now, but it was a good movie overall. 9.5.
That's pretty high.
Yeah. There was some there's a lot of CGI in Fury Road I know there mostly isn't, but when there is, it kind of looks really out of place.
CGI,
Really just
feels very CGI.
Like there was that little girl or something that he has flashbacks to all the time, and I'm just like, who is this girl, and why does she look like the fakest human being in the world? There's
If you're up.
yeah, where there's this little girl. She's like, "Why did you leave us? Why did you abandon us?" And he just has visions of her.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
I know.
who is this and why? She's not in the movies though.
Yeah,
The old movies.
They give. Yeah,
She's
actually,
not
no,
in them.
They never give any explanation.
Don't know
They
who that
just
is.
show these weird memories.
But yeah. If any closing thoughts? Because I think it's about probably all I have to say about the movie.
I think that was a great movie. Go watch it. It's a real popcorn eating kind of movie. I give it 5 popcorn bags out of 5.
Yeah. Watch it with the whole family.
Yes.
Even your children.
Go sit down.
Especially your youngest children.
On the couch with a baby.
You have to have 3 babies on your lap while you're watching this movie.
Have several babies.
And what's that thing called where you carry the baby on your back?
Ooh, a satchel.
And a satchel. So 4 babies at a minimum.
This is a real baby kind of movie.
Yeah.
This is a movie for babies, by babies, to babies.
I think babies made this movie.
That's what they said.
I think babies were harmed in the making of this movie.
I think Furiosa was kind of supposed to be the baby of babies.
She's a big baby. She's
Big-
the boss baby.
Big boss baby boy.
Yeah.
We love it.
I love it. It's great. Yeah, I would say go watch this movie, and I guess this is the end of the video now, where I have to think of a way to say things to naturally end the video. So,
See, ending videos are so easy.
Yeah, you just
Look how watch it. Larson is gonna naturally end this video in a very satisfying and completely unforced way, and it's gonna be extremely smooth. Watch him go. Go, Larson.
All right, I'm going. We're ending it. It's ending right now. It feels like a final ending. Feels very final of an ending. And you put me on the spot, so now I can't think of anything funny. So we're just gonna
That was good, Larson.
abruptly end
We
it. Good night,
appreciate
everyone.
that,
I love
Larson.
you. Good
That
night.
was fantastic.